Hi. Welcome back to demo of our life now and forever. The last bit that I've gotten in this demo prologue, I think it's already nighttime. So I'm gonna load it from the part where we stopped talking with our mother, and here we are. So sit back, relax, and probably tolerate my narration of the story as I continue until maybe the end. I know it's just a few minutes more before the ending of this game demo, and hold on tight. It's gonna be a blast, maybe. I don't know, wholesomely. Anyways, let's begin. After pausing just a little to build suspense, you began to narrate the entire story of the paper airplane adventure. From the moment it hit to the way it led you down the forest crossroad, meeting Shu on his tower with his notebook full of loose pages, then finding Tamarack in her leaf pile and all her surprises. Mama listened with her whole self, leaning forward and grinning wider with each new turn you revealed. You wrapped it up by explaining how you returned to the neighborhood with Shu and Tamarack after everything you've discovered. What a way to spend an afternoon! I'm proud of you, Frankie. You faced your fears amazingly. I had no idea you got it into such a winding journey. I was supposed to say winding adventure. I prefer that though. Like, it was a bit of an adventure. I am a kid in this, how old am I? 10? Yeah, 10. You kicked your legs up and down on your sleeping bag, very pleased with her reaction. It was a fun story to tell. Somehow, the events of the day felt like they were a long time ago. Or that they happened to someone else, and you just heard about it. But it had been real. Oh, sorry. The paper airplane, da. Me and Miss Clicking. Okay, I don't know what the last dialogue said. Maybe I'll just like try and read it before, but I think I can. I just forgot where I'm supposed to. Oh, the log. Hold up. Jesus Christ, it's so loud. Hold up. I'm gonna like adjust the volume for this a bit. Let's make it lower there. Wait, I guess this one. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So whatever, okay, the narration said, but it had been real. The paper airplane hit your shoulder. You held the note in your hands. Okay, I forgot there's like a long history. Huzzah. Okay, the choices are, and you threw that paper away when you were cleaning, and you didn't have any idea what happened to the paper, and you were saving that paper to give back to Shu, and you were saving that paper to give back to Tamarack, and you saved the paper with your things as a keepsake. I don't know. I've been insisting of like wanting to be straightforward type of like kid who's like more of an extrovert slash leaning ambivert. I do not remember what type of personality I have given my character, my Frankie. I don't ever like think it's I want to keep it as a keepsake. It had nice memories that went with it. With your topic all done, Mama softly spoke up to share her own thoughts with you. It's odd imagining this entire building collecting dust for all this time, isn't it? No one wanted to live here. Not renters, not the man who owned it. But it's a charming house. Yeah, it is. How did we get to have something like this? Mama pinched her lips together in consideration. Then she kept talking. There aren't a lot of opportunities out in these woods, I suppose. At my company, the retiring of the former HR manager was the first big position I've ever heard for this area. And even that didn't open up for people already living in the town. I was asked to relocate to take the position. Oh my god. Sorry. I had to like pause a bit. There's a tricycle at the background. Oh, you know what? The settings for this place is domesticity, so it might just be like Filipino standard of like whatever. And even that didn't open up for people already living in the town. I was asked to relocate to take the position. Creases grew around her eyes the more she thought about it. She caught herself before a frown could follow. Oh, but it's not an issue. I'm grateful. We'll find our place in the slow pace of Golden Grove. At least we'll have each other regardless. Yep, you and me are a team. It's great we have each other to talk about stuff with. We'll always be together. You can count on me, Mama. You nodded strongly. You yawned, not paying too much attention. No, just the suggestion of yawning makes me wanna yawn. It's like last night when I was watching Zach Oyama's compilation in Game Changer. It's a dropout show. You guys should try it. It's pretty cool. Um, there was I think a prompt. I forgot what the prompt is, but Takoyama yawned. Like it was such a convincing yawn that I unconsciously yawned after I saw him yawn. So I don't know, I'm just easily influenced, I guess. Okay, yep, you and me are a team. I guess I want to do this more. You can count on me, Mama. I don't want to be, like, overconfident. It feels like these options are, funnily, for me, a cowardly, timid person, I think. They're highly straightforward and slightly overconfident. I know I'm an overconfident type of kid, maybe, I guess, based on my memory. But the way that I feel like I want to do this is always cautious. So I'm gonna say you count on me, Mama. Because it still brings off a straightforward type of like personality as a kid. But you're a kid. Sometimes you really don't know what you can do. So you can only suggest. I mean, for the record, I think most of it are just suggestions. Adults, in some way, have not that there's minimal amount of expectations towards their children or kids, but rather they have learned to always be dependent and be independent. Sorry, not dependent, but like independent on solving their own things and problems. And they'd rather be dependent, but it's only for like their fellow adult. And sometimes they forget that whenever you're in your life, you include a person in your life, whatever age it is, you should still highly consider giving them a certain point or certain level of expectation. That gives authority not to be abused of or for you to abuse, but to rather give them space in your life and in your heart and in your thoughts whenever you consider things. Like, for example, decisions in this house and stuff like that. Sorry, veering off from going philosophical about life and parenting, even though I have no authority whatsoever to actually say anything about that. Unsolicited advice, carrying on. I'm gonna say you can count on me, Mama. Thank you, Frankie. Then your mama stretched her legs out fully across her sleeping bag, wiggling her toes inside the black socks she had on. Seeing Mama right there on the floor with you was cool. You didn't hang out together during bedtime like this most nights. It was special. Okay, I made a mistake saying that I did not breathe when the period is necessary. As you thought about that, your eyelids were trying to tape themselves up with the sticky, gritty stuff your eyes made when it was extra late. Your eyes were like tearing and stuff. Hold up. Okay. So, alright dear, you should get inside the sleeping bag now before you blink out on top of it. That sounded like a pretty good idea. Scooping your stuffed animal into both your arms, you shimmied into the open end of the bag. It was made out of fabric that was so smooth it wasn't difficult to do. You moved farther down until the edge was to your chin. You were wrapped up like a loaf of bread in a grocery bag. I am a baguette. Mama got to her feet, taking a short jog over to the far wall of the room. She lifted a finger to the light switch but kept her gaze down on you. The expression on her face was gentle. Okay. I pressed enter. Enter! Good night, Frankie. I'm gonna say sweet dreams. The room went pitch black with a click. While your eyes were trying to adjust, you heard the shuffling sounds of Mama. She joined you on the floor again. Those noises soon stopped. Mama didn't talk anymore. There weren't sounds of cars passing outside. Oh, tricycles, for that matter, or dogs barking. Those are IRL sounds, sorry about that. There was a thumping in your ears and you thought you might have heard a creak somewhere. The night noises were a lot different than what you had experienced with. They were so quiet and distant. It made you notice them more than if they were clearer. You'd have to get to know the sounds better. It was another part of the house's personality. You were okay with it. You were okay with that. It was normal to need time to get familiar with each other, with the house. You pressed your eyes shut. In your head was thoughts of, ooh, I wonder. I would say Shu and Tamarck because I just met friends. Okay, they're a pretty big deal. Like, especially with the way that things in the story are. So I want to assume that during this time I was thinking of the two new friends and two new neighbors I want to spend time with because they're gonna be like an excessive part of my life. You tossed and turned in the squishy cocoon, wanting to sleep so tomorrow would come sooner, but too excited to do so. It was way too long of a night. Then, your second day in Golden Grove arrived. Oh, I think it's near the end. Oh, it's not done. So this is another part of the tutorial. So hello. Tutorial. Hello again. We mentioned it earlier, but occasionally you will get the opportunity to change what you're wearing during the game. Nani. If you don't want to bother with changing your outfit, you can toggle these sections off from the Your Details screen. Click Info. Here on the right to find it. Oh, excuse me, I'm gonna burp. Excuse me. Why did I even ask for permission? Okay. By the way, gosh darn, I loved the soundtrack. Totally pulls the string. If you guys are like totes interested, they sell their soundtracks or like OSTs of the games that they release. So go check them out. They're really good. Okay, continuing the tutorial instructions. Would you like to see the dress-up sections in the future? Oh, they're asking if, this is a patch. So I am kind of thinking that this was actually added recently when I opened the game. So it adds time to my video. But, I think I do want to see these dress-up sections. Because it feels they're going for like highly personal attachment already, so why not add it? I do want to see it and I want to try and pick my outfit, but at the same time, if they have preset outfits, I wouldn't mind to actually choose those preset outfits. You know why? Because I'm a lazy MF and I sometimes don't want to think much. Okay, so I technically forgot what my preference is, but I was going to choose. I don't want to see these. Oh, I want to pick out my outfit. I wasn't reading properly a while ago, but apparently it says I don't want to see the dress up sections. I'm like, I want to see it. I want to be personal about my choices with my clothes and at the same time see it properly. So I'm gonna pick this one. Hopefully the feedback goes to the creators. Oh, thanks. Tutorial guideline says have fun. I will. So let's breeze through this. The accessories options have neck neck accessories underlayers, the neck accessories overlayers, head accessories. We also have glasses, earrings, and bandages. I know this like thingy here, the paint, the palette would probably show up when you choose one of these. So I'm gonna start picking a few things. Just for the record, I might breeze through this. When I mean breeze through, it's like fast forward. Alrighty, I think I chose the simplest that I could like choose for my current Frankie build. Current Frankie build. That's fun. Anyways, exploring the accessories and their options, it's kind of fascinating that specifically for the earrings part, they automatically like left the choose left or right earrings individually, which makes for fun, like more flexibility specifically for like other people who prefers like creating their like choices of accessories individually for most elements. I mean, to be fair though, IRL, I have gone through that phase wherein I want to wear earrings in one ear and differently than the other. I also like that the options have such a variety. They aren't that like stiff. Most of them are adorable. I guess it's because of the style of the art. But overall, like if you wanna choose a cool one, there's like these jacket options that are like fluffy, which makes for a nice taste. But I see that there's not much choices that are like borderline bad. I mean, to be fair though, like Frankie is a kid anyway. So here's the new other look Frankie has. I chose a hat that is kind of like beach-like in color. And I think this is like a neck scarf thingy with a button up. But the other layer is, I think, a simple blouse with at least an effeminate sort of design. But the color is a bit earthy. I like other earthy colors, and the entirety of the design for this game is so much to the core of me appreciating it because there are a lot of earth colors and it gives so much warmth to my heart, to my already achingly bad and sad soul. Anyways, I'm gonna finalize this. I'm gonna what X? There's no other button. Okay. Oh, it actually continues. I don't know when the demo ends, when the prologue ends. This is so long. Anywho, I'm gonna continue. But your second day had only just arrived. Only one corner of the world outside the window had any sunlight, the rest was all shadows. The lights in the house has to be turned on for you to see your own hands. Okay, the choices are you loved it, You loved when it was that early. You didn't mind that your mama had to work really hard to get you up. You thought it should be criminal to make people have to be awake this early. I guess I would say your mama had to work really hard to get you up because it feels like I would be a kid who is hard to like wake up, especially with the energy. You did your best to stay asleep, but lost the battle that morning. At least she didn't start making you do chores. The unpacking wouldn't be started again late until a lot later. That's what your mama said when you were brushing your teeth. For now, you both only had what was already out. The food around to eat was still just the same stuff from yesterday, that takeout from last night. I know that. It was what you had for breakfast already, and you could see your mama packing it into a brown paper bag for lunch, too. That was the last of the preparation she had to do for your school. You were pretty sure your mama really wanted to be the one to get your supplies for the day together. She'd put stacks of stapled papers, a notebook, your pencil case, a ruler, and more into your backpack. Mama had kept the pack on the middle seat of the car to make sure it would be right there when it was time to use it for class. If it had gone missing, maybe you would have had to carry your school stuff in a cardboard box. The same way you had to bring everything else you own to this place in big boxes. That's how easy I forget my bag. I mean, to be fair though, maybe I am that kind of like energetic hyper kid that actually focuses from one up to another. It's sort of like I think, a minor sign of being out of focus or like ADHD, I guess. You watched her from your comfy spot on your sleeping bag. You'd already gotten dressed for that day, but that didn't mean you couldn't sit in bed again. There wasn't anywhere else to sit. Soon you'd be leaving the new old house and the neighborhood, and all the parts of Golden Grove you'd gotten to see so far. The next stop into the unknown was North Acres Elementary School. You kind of wondered why your mama was bothering with making you bring so many things. None of the stuff in the backpack would make you prepared for that. But school thoughts were shaken out of your head when a muffled thumping sound filled up the air. Mama slowly lowered her full hands down to the counter, and at the same time, her head and eyebrows went up. Sorry, I was kind of confused why the freaking hell her hands were full. Maybe she was doing something while the knocking happened. Guests? Already at this hour? Your mama left your lunch bag incomplete on the tabletop, and sorry, she's taking time actually fixing the lunch bag, huh? She wants me to be filled up in the whole day. I appreciate a good person who actually feeds me. Good job. And went to investigate the knocking. You ran up to go to C2, you ran to stick to your mom's side, you dash forward to beat your mama to open the door. I want to beat her to opening the door because it feels like, energetic. Although IRL, I'd probably just be doing a protective sort of stance when it comes to this. That's why I'm going forward to the door. The speed of your chase made your sleeping bag slide against the wooden floor, but you didn't trip. You were able to pass Mama before she arrived at the start of the entryway. You reached up to get both your hands around the long handle of the front door, pressing it down and giving the stiff board a firm tug. It squeaked open. Squeak! You glanced ahead, squinting your eyes to adjust from the complete brightness inside to the pale dawn outside. Wait, what? Standing tall on the welcome mat, seemingly totally at home at your home, was the new friend you had met the day before, Mr. Shu Lin. Though he said he was also called Autumn. Hi, Autumn! You were going to try using the nicknames sometimes, but you just called him by his actual name. Oh, okay, so either I think of calling Shu a nickname or just officially call him by his name. I want to try calling him like by his name. I want to do a nickname, but I'm like, I don't know. It feels like there's a hint of like, yeah, I'm too clingy. Like even IRL maybe, so I don't want to do this. In opposite. Yeah. Shu's fluffy hood was tucked snugly around his head. He didn't usually do that, at least based on how much he knew was usual for him. Maybe it was because the air was somehow even more skin-prickling cold in the morning than it was during the day or evening. You shuddered just from the wind coming in through the opening. When he caught sight of you there, a plucky grin took over his face. He popped onto the balls of his feet, getting even taller, and cheered a greeting. "Good morning!" Seeing who it was, you scooted past your mama to stand by Shu on the porch, enthusiastically shoved past your mama to stand by Shu on the porch, nervously shifted, started in place, then dove to hide behind your mama's legs. Why though? That's so cute. I want to do this. Stayed there to greet the guest. Stood in place, wondering if it was too late to go back to the living room. Can't I just like stand my place and just like honestly say hi hi hi? Well, this is it anyway. So I'm gonna stay on my place. I don't want to enthusiastically shove my mom over. I mean, to be fair, I'm the one who opened the door, so she's like, I'm imagining our positions are fairly side by side in front of the open door, and mom is the one like fully exposed, and I'm beside her near the doorknob, so it's like that. So I'm just gonna scoot. I'm gonna scoot past to stand by Shu on the porch. Shu puffed up, completely pleased that you'd come over to him. He mirrored your moves so he was facing you instead of Mama. Aw, don't do that. Aw, I feel like I kind of become rude or something. Um, okay, I say hi. I say, hello, good morning to you. You're visiting me, you said confused. Thanks for coming to my house. What are you doing here accusingly? What are you doing here? The curious one. You wave excitedly, you wave shyly, and the last one is you quietly waited for there for an explanation. I want to greet them. Like, thanks for coming to my house. Or like, confused, you're visiting me. Yeah, I think I'll choose this first, just because. Mm-hmm. You're welcome. Shu stayed put in the new place he took, but angled his head up and over to give his focus to your mama. I'm Mr. Shu Lin. I'm your neighbor, and the same age as as Frankie second. Sorry, I still am confused, like how to pronounce the M thing. Maybe I should have like researched this. I mean, there is Google. Sorry about that. The two of us met yesterday. Ah, yes, I've heard. I'd been anticipating getting to meet you. I should change that to, ah, yes, I've heard. I'd been anticipating getting to meet you, and those feelings were well placed. You're so polite. Shu straightened out the line of his bandana with both hands, giggling cheekily as he made direct eye contact with you. Well, if somebody has been talking about me, I hope it was the good stuff. Hmm? Now I should introduce myself as well. I'm Miss Second, Frankie's mother. It's nice to meet you. May I speak with Frankie, Miss Second? There's something I wanted to talk to them about. Thoughtfully, your mama's glance drifted down to you. Without looking back at him, your mama replied, That would be fine. I'll finish getting your bag ready, Frankie. You two can chat. Shu clasped his hands together primly. Thank you very much. Mama let a content smile rest on her face as she walked back inside the house, leaving you alone with Shu. You looked back at him eagerly. It was only the morning and something good was already happening. What did you want to say? Shu didn't beat around the bush with you. He probably didn't with anyone. He came right out with what he had in mind. Wanna walk to school together? It's the first day. He squared his shoulders and held out a hand, counting off points on his fingers. We're going to the same place, in the same grade. There's a good chance we'll even be in the same class. Going together could make everything so easy. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. You're so nice. Sorry, I'm just listing out the choices. Only if you're sure, you give a nod of agreement. I say no. And no thanks. I'm sorry. You shook your head in disagreement. But that's just easier for me. What's in it for you? I don't need your help. You don't have to help me. You stared at him with wide eyes. I'm gonna ask, but that's just easier for me. What's in it for you? Okay. He had a way too easy answer for that. Walking with you is what's in it for me. It'll be fun. Maybe okay. We have another list of choices. I thought it was the same choices, but apparently it's not. I mean, I guess it is. The only thing that was different was I shook my head in disagreement. I think, yeah, the other option has just completely disappeared, and the rest are like the same. So I'm gonna say only if you're sure. All right! He popped an enthusiastic double thumbs up. I think it makes a lot of sense that we'd go together. With his hands in his pockets, Shu shifted the whole top half of his body diagonally over to one side. The tilt of his head really showed off the bend in his self-pleased smile. Oh. He flung an arm back out and arched the fingers across the air in front of both your faces. What for? It might have been to stop you before you could say anything, or to keep himself from forgetting whatever else he wanted to talk about. Oh my gosh, I skipped. What? Hold up. The log says, oh, okay. It wouldn't be just us. I'm gonna keep going down the cul-de-sac to Granny's house so I can ask Tamarck next. Okay. I had a hard time saying the word ask, but there's that. So, that's it. What do you think about all three of us walking together? It's a good plan, right? Choices are, yeah, that does make sense. Come, it's a great idea. I want to go. Wow, you really think of everything. Let's do it. Sure, I guess. I guess, though you wished you could have gone alone with Shu. No, you had changed your mind. You nodded in agreement. You shook your head. You had changed your mind. I'd probably just say it's a great idea or wow, you really do things. You do think of things. Like, so let's do it. I would say this. Wow, you really think everything. Let's do it. Because like it's a contradictory to his personality before. Like Shu is a level of like being clumsy. But according to how I set him up previously in our relationship slash personality sort of like dynamics and stuff, like the social and relationship dynamics, I did see that he's like a teamwork sort of like person, and I think I chose me and Tamarack to be like the personality or dynamic of which we feel like we're leaders or like ones that actually instigate or starts things. So there's that. So it's kind of like an unusual sort of setting that he starts things first. I mean, to be fair though, he start the things first because I technically chose him first. His path at least. Well, yeah, kind of. Spacebar? Okay. You swung your head behind you and spoke out again. I'll get my backpack and tell my mama we're going. Cool, I'll wait here for you. You parted with Shu for a second but didn't bother closing the door. The sound of your feet against the floor was the only noise in the huge house. You couldn't have snuck up on Mama if you tried. Each step you took brought you closer, and it made the smile on her face grow larger, but she didn't get distracted from her job. Her gaze stayed stuck to the counter. Mama placed one more paper into your backpack and snapped the plastic clasp on the top. Flap closed, like cheap English words, what even? With that secured, she promptly picked the bag up by the loop handle. She lowered herself down to your height by bending her knees low. Sorry, I'm like scratching my eyes while doing this because itchy. The part of the cornea that is sort of like sandy feels bad. Oh, I mean, not the cornea, but like the skin of the lid. I forgot what the fact is about that. There's like an anatomical like incorrect assumption when it comes to the eyes when it's itchy. They'd say that it's not the cornea, but that is technically itchy, or like the layer or even the muscle around it, but it's like the skin layer under the eyelids that are the itchy ones. No, not skin layer, but like the layer under the eyelids are the ones that are technically itchy. I forgot what the information is in science. I should have just like properly look it up. I mean, to be fair though, that's just some random general information that may or may not be true, or maybe I understand or forgot exactly what are like the details. Anyway, back to the story. Sorry. She lowered herself down to your height by bending her knees low. Then she offered the backpack over to you. Exceptional timing, dear. Here, you're set to go. It was a nice and light It was nice and light when you took the pack from her. That wouldn't last. Soon you'd have actual school books to bring around with you. What happened with our guest? Did he leave? You answered the question while shifting the backpack over your shoulder, keeping it in place with one hand. He's out there still. Shu wants me to walk to school with him. Can I go? You shifted your focus to the entryway. The bag swung back and forth behind you as you twisted your body around the other way. He came over to ask you that. He came over to ask you that? Talk about convenient. The young Mr. Lin must know the way far better than I do. You certainly can walk together. That was exactly what you thought she'd say. You could count on her to understand. As she smiled, her face lit up softly like the early morning sunshine outside. Mama pinched the tip of your chin between her thumb and her pointer finger. Enjoy your first day. There's only one of them per year. The choices are maybe she was right. You would look at what was inside. It was nice instead of what wasn't. You still weren't cheery about going to school, and that was a fact. You didn't feel any better, but you didn't want anyone to notice. What mindset do I want to have when I go to school? Like at this point, I'd rather not be nervous just because like the entirety of like Frankie character here that I've been building up is so much like energetic and invigorated about so much things. So maybe I'm just gonna say maybe she was right. You would look at the other sides instead of that. Anything could happen for all you know. It might be good. She let you go in order to place her hands on her thighs, needing to balance herself as she stiffly straightened up to her full height. Height. Sorry, that balot. I think there's someone selling balot outside now. Yeah, it's the evening right now. To those who are not familiar, I am in the PH and I'm recording at night right now because it took some time before I had to like start over again on this part. Anyways, your mama folded her arms proudly, watching you leave for the day. You were going ahead without her. Through the open door, you could see Shu waiting patiently on your porch still. He turned his back to the house, instead looking around the neighborhood. You came to his side and that caught his attention. But his gaze didn't go to yours. It went right to the backpack you had on. Shu grinned hopefully. And Jesus Christ, this kid is mischievous, huh? I thought Tamarck was the mischievous one. I guess all of them are gonna be mischievous. They're kids. I mean, I've been surrounded by my kids. I mean, I guess I consider a lot of people around me as younger than me. So I will say I have been experiencing a lot of mischievous things with kids even in the group of people I spend time with in Twitch. Space. I told Mama it's okay. He smacked his hands together enthusiastically. All right, time to go. You know, Frankie, it's been forever since I've gotten to walk to school with a friend. You perked your ears, going super alert. He said you were friends. You thought you were, but it was totally different to have him talk about it just like that. Sorry, I'm gonna set. Okay, I thought the settings weren't properly met. The choices are, I'm glad we're friends, me too, Shu, this is great. You really think we're friends? Shu? Thanks for being my friend. Shu? Could you call me Frankie? I knew you'd like me, you joke. You didn't know what to say. I want this. I knew you'd like me, you joked. A smirk went across his whole face. Shu was full of certainty. Mm-hmm. I do. And I knew that you'd like me. That you like me. Shu easily swiveled all the way around on his heels. He firmly planted his feet into the floorboards of the porch to close out his move. Then he confidently strode forward and leapt over the little steps to get onto the ground. Shu had places to be and nothing was gonna stand in his way. I had a moment of like mouth lapse or dyslexia before this line, so like if you guys noticed that I kind of felt mum, that's because of it. Oh, it's so itchy, I'm crying. Ah, I missed it again. Okay. Um. Then he confidently strode. I was saying, man, I was gonna stand in his way. Happily, it went along with him down the stone path, past the fence, and onto the neighborhood sidewalk. How long is this prologue? It's like 24 hours already, and I'm like playing for like how many hours? 4? It took less than a minute to go around the bendy curve of your neighborhood that led to the least pointy and least colorful home on the street. Tamarack's house. Also her Omi and Appa's house. Shu and you wandered right into the uncharted territory of their porch. The choices are: Shu tapped out a rhythmic set of knocks. You reached forward to knock. You pressed the doorbell button. Are you ready? Oh, so like either I or Shu goes first. Um, and when I do go first, either I knock or I ring the doorbell if there is any. Or are you ready? I'm gonna ask, are you ready? Because I don't want to like go ahead. Wait up. I did say I'm gonna be straightforward, so I'm gonna press the doorbell button if there is. It made a ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling, as according to the soundtrack that is in the background that's playing here. It made a sound until you took your hand off. Shu brought his arms to his side, shook his head to readjust the way his hair fell around his shoulders, and positioned himself squarely in the center of the entryway. The old door began to jiggle in its frame like it was shivering cold from being outside this early too. But someone was fiddling with the doorknob on the other side. Okay. And then the door swung wide open with a clattering yank, and a gust of flowery perfumed air coming out from deep inside the house. What? Still clasping the handle and leaning her head against the wood, Tamarack was there to greet you. She had her bag and scarf on for the day already. Hello! Good morning, Tamarack! Her eyes popped open. She hadn't looked to see who was at her door before saying hello, but she couldn't tell who it was from that answer. Sorry, she could tell who it was from that answer. Move. Tamarack's tone of voice lightened even more. Shoo! And Frankie! She'd used your name, not your nickname, like Shu had. Maybe she was used. Maybe she would use it later, or maybe she forgot. Tamarack kept talking without giving a reason for why she called you that. You're both here. You're both here? Hi. Sorry, and like I keep on forgetting that there are punctuations actually properly put an emotional like something in like deliveries of lines. So now I'm just like I'm fairly confused how the freaking hell am I supposed to like dub these characters without properly like being alert of how the thing is composed, their lines are composed. Okay, the choices at the current in front of me is, hey, good morning, Tamarack. That's right, we came to ask you to go to school with us, and you waved at her. You lowered your gaze shyly and want to walk to school together. I want to give Shu the honors of asking Tamarack this, so I'm just gonna say, good morning, Tamarack. Shu kept his very proper pose and offered Tamarack the same invitation he'd given you. I'm glad we didn't miss you. We're all going to the same school, right? It'd be cool to walk as a group. Want to? Please? I don't want to go all by yourself. I don't want you to go all by yourself. What? Why would I? I guess I'm the flair for dramatics anyway. So. She blinked rapidly, many times and all in a row. In the soft pink light, her eyelashes looked almost like shimmering dragonfly wings. Wow, the way that Tamarack is described is so pretty. And so is Shu. Come on. They're so cute.
Wow, okay, I wanna come.
She twisted almost the whole way around, turning her back to you. You could just barely glimpse the darkened hall behind her. Tamarack then leaned over, bending her knees, and powerfully shouted into the depths of the gray house.
I'm going to school now!
Her loud, high-pitched call echoed through the hallway. Have a good day, young lady. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Have a good day, young lady! Tamarack hopped forward. It was small, but that was all it took to go from being in her house to being in the outside world. She tugged the doorknob with her to slam the door shut. English, what even?
I'm ready!
The quickness of all that was too much, and Shu needed a second to catch up with it. But when he did, he chuckled. Perfect! Shu lazily settled his hands on his hips and his eyes moved way off to the side, even though there was nothing special to see that way. Guess we've actually got to go to class.
Yeah.
She pumped her fists up and down in the air in a pattern that matched the pace of her yes. Oh, I did say that badly. I say, yeah. That should have been it. The choices for this one is it's because it's my turn to actually agree with Shu about the energy of this. So, which one is the most energetic? So here we go. I hope we're not gonna be late. You sound really excited, Shu. You joke. I'm glad you're coming, Tamarack. Yeah, you sighed. Yeah, you cheered along with Tamarack. You smiled wide. Or we could not go, you teased. Or we could not go, you said plainly. And this run is like the last choice is like defunct like indifferent run, like the stoic run. You're gonna say, or we could not go. It's as if it's like it's a question, or we could not go. And the teasing one would be delivered like, or we could not go. I'd probably just like say, yeah, I'll cheer with Tamarack.
Yeah!
It was a cheering loop between you and her, all clustered together. You, Shu, and Tamarack tramped off the white wooden porch. The full set of cul-de-sac kids hit the road again. The trip was almost the opposite of last time. The sun was coming up instead of going down, and you were leaving the neighborhood instead of going back to it. But that wasn't what really stood out to you. It was a little bit amazing you already could compare it to a last time. And you could guess that this journey with them wasn't gonna be the actual last time it ever happened. It would just become the last time it happened before the new next time. The first part of the school trip wasn't hard. There was only one way out of your neighborhood unless someone hiked out into wherever the woods went. That would be cool. Maybe you'd be able to do that someday. Gulp, gulp. Your actual path forward had you brush past the forest fork that originally led you to meeting Shu and Tamarack. But you weren't stuck with the same limits as before. This morning, you moved right on by without even stopping to check what might be hidden away back there. Now, you traveled even further. The woods crowded in closer and closer around the one road that led out, until suddenly structures began to appear in between the bushes. The thick overhang of leaves pulled apart to show the sky. The world unfolded ahead of you. Sunshine climbed mountains to just barely trickle your cheeks, while the stars still clustered against your back. You were right in the center of a windy mountain path. It flowed over the uneven ground, blanketing every small bump and bend like a black river. Along the street, huge wooden poles rose into the sky in a row that rivaled the trees. Stretching phone lines and reaching branches wove the whole town together. Sorry, I think the sounds are pretty loud. It's blaring in my ears right now. I can't. I have adjusted it for like the audio of the video. So please, guys, just make a hint in the comments if the volume is pretty bad. Continuing on. Even though Golden Grove was a lived-in place with man-made things, the vast wilderness was just as much a neighbor to the residents as their real people neighbors. Tamarack tramped over the grass, swishing her arms in full length swings in front of her. Swishing her arms in full length swings in front of her. She didn't get anywhere near the tarmac. Sorry, I almost read the tarmac as Tamarack because it kind of like spells with her name with missing consonants. Shu's stride was a lot breezier. He took the spot in the line closest to the road and didn't even check for cars. His eyes were aimed at the now viewable sky. Oh, he's being a gentleman. You ended up somewhere in between them. If Tamarack was a swoosh and Shu was a breeze, you were a whirlwind. You rushed about, twisting the angle of your head and taking in every new thing that surrounded you. All that air went out the window when Shu started moving his hands around even more than Tamarack. What? He frantically stuck his fingers in and out of each one of his pockets while poking his tongue out at the corner of his mouth. You and Tamarack just watched as he tugged his jacket and pants while walking. The two of you probably shared the same exact thought. He was looking for his notebook, or paper, or something. Aha! And it was paper. But it wasn't his special tan pages. The thing Shu grabbed was a thick folded packet of white printer paper that was covered all over in tiny ink words. You could instantly tell what it was. The many papers stapled together with that many little words on them only ever came from one place: school. Shu held it close to his face. He had his nose completely in what was basically a book. But for some reason, he started to talk to you and Tamarack. Which room did you get? For a second, Shu peeked over the pages to look at the both of you. Who's your teacher? Uh... Tamarack thought hard, but she didn't find an answer in her head. She squished her hand under the flap of her bag without unbuckling it. She had to find her own papers. I didn't know that was necessary for me. I don't know if the mama fixed that for me. I might have to check. The choices are, I remember Mama told me. I remember I read it earlier. I'm gonna check. Mama told me, but I forgot. Oh, I know that. You quietly moved to check your school stuff too. You thought about it, and before long, you knew the answer. Oh, since I've been narrating, I kind of like forgot the elements, whatever I was reading. So I might presume or assume things. So I'm gonna do this. Weirdly enough, you thought about it, and before long, you knew the answer. Okay, so the choices are, I guess it's a delivery that we're going for. The first one is, I'm in room 24 with Mrs. Murray. The room is number 24. I think the teacher's name was Murray. It's 24. My teacher's name is Mrs. Murray? But you didn't tell them. The last one is you didn't tell them. You wanted to see what they were going to say. I'm gonna say this one because I feel like I do remember it energetically, but I kind of don't want to dismiss the title of her name. So this is the only one that feels like comfortable to say, which is like, sorry. Shu used his thumbs to bend the papers down. They stopped hiding his face and you could see he was smiling. Wait, that's my room too! Tamarack waved her packet in the air in a crinkly flurry.
Me three! Me three!
The choices are, we're all in the same class. You cheered. We're gonna be stuck together forever. You joke. I wanna do this. We're gonna be stuck forever. You groaned. You closed your eyes and smiled. You were happy you'd get to share a class with Shu. You were happy you'd get to share a class with Tamarack. You're happy you get to share a class with everyone. I'm gonna do the joking one because Jesus Christ. I wanna go all grumpy because like IRL feels like that's something I'm gonna do, but I wanna be joke-ish. I've been doing that anyway since before, but that's more geared towards Shu instead of Tamarack to begin with. Your mama had given you the papers. Shu probably got his from his mom and dad, and Tamarack from her Ami and Appa. Despite being kind of different, the papers were all the same. A smirk settled in its regular spot on Shu's face, all according to plan if he somehow could have planned it. We're roommates! Ah! Keyboard be pressing too hard. He didn't need the packet for anything else, so he stuffed it into his pant pocket with a shrug of one shoulder. There's only 3 5th grade classes, so they're grade 5 classes we could have been in. When Shu made sure it was deep enough to not just fall out, he brought both his arms into an even bigger shrug and chuckled too. But Mrs. Murray, I almost made it without her being my teacher. It was close. Tamarack peered into his face with wide eyes, leaning over so much that you almost walked into her. She didn't have to say what her question was with words. Shu got it. Don't worry, she's nice. She's the best teacher for you too. She made a very serious and reassuring okay sign with his fingers, but in an instant it snapped into a pointing gesture. And you're probably gonna be shocked, but Mrs. Murray isn't just a teacher, she's a mom. She has kids that are just her kids, not students.
Wow!
Sorry, that dialogue was funny. I don't know why. I'm like, yeah. The choices for this now is... That's weird. Why that weird? Why that weird though? Why that weird? I mean, for the record, I had a teacher who's pregnant. Like, she was nearing her last trimester. Last, phase of her pregnancy. So that's not weird. Why would that be? I think you're weird, Shu. I think you're weird, Shu, but bluntly, I'd never want a teacher as my parent. To be honest, maybe this would be a rational line if your parent was like really abusive of you or something. You'd not want to see like another person that sounds or is like a parent to be a presence around you in school. But even no, I kind of didn't think of anything back then when I was a kid, comparing at least. It would have been kind of fun to have a parent who was a teacher. You stared in amazement. You stared at the two of them for how big deal they made it. Exactly. But I'm an adult. I can't just judge this. You just watch the two walk and you just say, okay. Energy, energy, energy wise. I guess maybe I want to be wholesome enough, so it'd be kind of fun to have a parent who was a teacher.
No!
Is that the correct energy for that? But now, I know where we're really going. I can bring us right to the door. Okay, so at least like the entirety of that conversation was just Shu being like, what room are you in? Maybe I know, so that we could be like together walking, you know. The extra burst of confidence got Shu to take a few long strides ahead of you and Tamarack, keeping his chin high. Tamarack bounced across the grass, kicking her knees high to catch up. She didn't let him keep the lead. He took. Yeah, she's kind of competitive, I think, the dynamics that I saw. You shyly got up, you happily went up to them, you hung back. I guess I happily went to them. You ran forward to get back in the middle of the row. You were greeted with grins from both of them. Your steps came back into a steady rhythm between the three of you. Aw, they're on their way going to school. Okay, I'm gonna say this a little bit abrupt, but I'm gonna have to pause and save the progress of the game here for now because it's already an hour within the game. So let's go back to the main menu. Yes. Well, finally, we've got a broader aspect of what the game is presenting or going to deliver for us as a visual novel. I'm getting sort of like middleman or middle energy peeved about the levels of choices and like frequency of energy or like the frequency of when you're supposed to pick choices between whenever the presence of Tamarack and Shu is there. But that's like if you play this pretty long and stuff. So there's that. And the tricycle just passed by me. Okay. Sorry. like golden retriever moment. It doesn't take much from the experience though. It's just like for me at least, it's my energy just getting depleted because I easily get tired and stuff. However, in the immersion of your story and putting yourself in place with the main character, it is highly it the choices are highly giving enough energy for you to pick because the variety of like the energy between the options that were given, especially after you've set like the relationship dynamics and whatnot, seems to be fitting. So I am going to say that it rather is a good thing to like in the long run, maybe especially in the near future as you progress with your relationship and the story between the characters. So far, that's about it for this part of the demo of our life now and forever. I didn't get to do that introduction in the beginning. Anywho, this is the end of part 5 for now. Hopefully it is a good the narration and the storytelling have not given you enough reason to not take this visual novel to heart and to like take it. This is such a recommended title to take it easy in like gaming and stuff. Either way, I'm going to be like continuing this next time. Thank you so much for staying and for listening. I guess if you guys did, hopefully we get to continue this further. And I see the end of the prologue because holy heck, it's so long. Like it's already like an equivalent of like 4 hours of gameplay. I think not 4 hours, but like 2 to 3 hours. This is the demo of our life now and forever. Pansikoser signing off. May your misfortune ever be bad so that it could be a good one. At least a good fortune. Toodles!